ABC 15 breaking news.
And that breaking news, just horrible. A massive lithium battery fire in Surprise and at least 8 firefighters hurt in an explosion.
We want to get right out to ABC 15's Mike Pelton, just getting to the scene near Deer Valley and Grand. And Mike, what can you tell us?
Yeah, well, Steve and Katie, this is a very active scene, and what we know now is that the injured firefighters were transported to several Valley hospitals, some of them by ground, some of them by helicopter. Now, I want to step out of the way to give you a look at what we're seeing out here, a very large response. We've seen firefighters and fire agencies from multiple agencies out here on the scene. As we kind of pan across here, we know it's a little dark off to the left side of the screen, but we've seen a couple of groups of firefighters gathering for quite some time this evening. Now, this is, of course, a fluid situation, but here's what we know. The Peoria Fire Department tells us multiple agencies were out here tonight responding to a battery fire at an APS facility, including the Peoria Fire Hazmat team. As crews went to make entry, we are told there was some sort of an explosion. At this point, we do not know exactly what sparked that, although 4 Peoria firefighters were injured and transported to trauma centers around the valley. As you might imagine, this triggered a very large response. Now, we, at this point, don't see any signs of a fire, although one by one, we continue to see emergency vehicles making their way out here to the scene. We are expecting a briefing and an update from first responders here shortly, but again, we are getting word that at least 8 firefighters total, perhaps between multiple agencies, injured in this. Obviously, our thoughts go out to them as we hope for the best in each of their situations. But again, at least 8 firefighters injured. We're expecting a briefing shortly. Of course, as soon as we get any more information, we'll bring it to you. Back to you guys.
We will head right back out to you, Mike Pelton. Thank you so much. ABC 15's Zach Crenshaw, meantime, live from a local hospital.
And Zach, obviously our thoughts with those firefighters, emergency crews just rushing those victims inside.
Yeah, it was pandemonium, and now it is a much more somber scene here at the Maricopa Medical Center, where 3 Peoria firefighters were rushed, the most seriously injured 2, both of them medevaced via helicopter. They are back here in the emergency room, and in this breezeway behind me about 30 minutes ago, it was lined with firefighters from Phoenix Fire that were here supporting their injured brothers. Those 2 men that were coming off the helicopter appeared to be in serious condition. We know that right now, of the 4 Peoria firefighters, 1 is in critical condition, 2 are in serious condition, and 1 is stable. The most critical being taken off that helicopter. He had breathing apparatus on. And in the last about 15 minutes, we've seen the Peoria Fire Chief come here, rush into the ER to be with his guys. We've also seen family members arrive, hugging one another, crying, tears streaming down their faces as they wait to get updates on their loved ones. But right now, we just got an update from Surprise PD, and they say none of the injuries of these 8 firefighters appear to be life-threatening. That is the good news from a spokesperson from the city of Peoria. She said the 4 Peoria firefighters that were injured, 3 of them here at the Maricopa Medical Center, they were the 4 guys that were on that crew, the first ones in to that fire when the explosion happened. That's why their entire crew was injured, and most of them being rushed to hospitals. We're going to stay out here. We expect a briefing here very soon. In fact, it's about to happen right now, so we're going to actually walk you over here and take this live. If you guys want to, Katie and Steve, let me know as we prepare to take this press conference with hopefully an update from, it looks like, Peoria Fire.
Yeah, Zach, let's definitely listen into this. Obviously, we want to know more about just what happened out there. So, Peoria Fire Department once again preparing to give an update on this explosion at apparently an APS battery storage facility. Initially called out there for a fire, but then the battery apparently exploded, and we're hearing at least 8 firefighters were hurt.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, early this evening we had our hazardous material crew, Hazmat 193, responding to a call in the city of Surprise. It was a APS lithium battery storage facility. The units were on scene and they were checking for all their levels, making sure everything is safe. It's something that we do all the time, and in this particular case, the levels they had wanted readings for at approximately just after 8 p.m. got low enough that they felt that they were safe enough to make entry. So upon entry, an explosion occurred, and in that explosion, 4 of our firefighters got injured. We do have 4 firefighters that are injured. 3 of them are at this facility right now, and 1 of them is at West Valley. The one firefighter that's here that's in the most critical condition is at this facility.
We saw him taken off the helicopter. It appeared he had breathing apparatus on. Talk to us about his injuries. How's he doing?
Well, at this time, I don't know the extent of his injuries, and I'm just getting on scene right here and learning more about the incident itself. So where his current conditions are right now is not known, but we do know that the entire call is under investigation with police. They are trying to figure out what caused this, and we'll find out more for our firefighters how their conditions are as the night progresses.
You talked about the levels that they were measuring. What exactly are those levels, and what are they normally supposed to be when they're making entry like that?
Well, I was trying to drill down to that and find out exactly what the levels they were reading, but it's hazardous material levels that they were trying to read that are explosive levels, and specifically what those levels were is still undetermined at this time as well.
Do you know what type of injuries we're dealing with? Are we dealing with chemical burns or like broken bones from being blown back?
We have a combination of chemical burns. We have a combination of inhalation burns. Again, those extent of those injuries are not known, and as far as whether or not it's the chemical burns that's causing this, causing them to be critical or not, I still don't know at this time.
What's the mood like in there?
I think right now the mood is somber because it's our firefighters. We have our chief here, and we have a couple deputy chiefs here, and multiple members supporting our firefighters. So the mood is somber. We never like to deal with these kind of situations, so it saddens us, but we're hoping for the best at this point and praying for everybody.
And what's it like knowing that Phoenix Fire Department and others are here? You know, we saw them lining the corridor here. What's that like, seeing that show of support?
Well, we do. We have support from all around. In fact, the PIO from Phoenix Fire Department is here, and his offer of support. We have our chaplain here as well. So there's multiple members here gathering together, coming together and praying for our guys.
I think Surprise PD says they don't expect any life-threatening injuries. Is that your understanding right now, that they're going to pull through?
I would say at this point right now that I think everybody's going to pull through, but I might be remiss to say that because I just don't know exactly the extent of all these injuries.
Do you know what type of, can you talk about the actual fire and kind of what they were responding to?
Yeah, again, when it comes to the actual incident itself, it is under investigation. I wasn't on the scene. I've been called to it, so I'm still investigating and getting more information. So I'll be able to give you guys more information soon, but right now there's not enough for me to be able to convey to you guys.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Engineer, Peoria Fire Medical, Public Information Officer.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
So obviously a very fluid scene out there as we work to get more information. This investigation just beginning, and of course the rush to save these firefighters. But this not only affected fire crews who were out there, but people who were nearby in the West Valley going about their normal Friday night when all of a sudden they hear something more, a loud boom interrupting normal Friday night activities.
Yeah, we just talked to one dad actually. He was at baseball practice with his son.
Shook us all, really. I mean, it was a big boom, and the ground shook, and then we all kind of stopped practice, wondering what was going on, and then that was just followed up by all the sirens and the chopper overhead.
Jason Cook telling us the team of 12-year-olds kept practicing, but they still kept an eye on what was happening as more lights and sirens passed those practice fields. I want to take you back to the scene of this fire now. This is in Surprise, and what we understand about these two battery units, we've actually done a story on them recently, but these were units that were essentially designed to store power for peak power periods. And one of the things that APS was actually looking at was just exactly how well these batteries can perform in the very high heat environments that we see here in Arizona, especially during those peak periods. Here's some video from the hospital, and we should note that these firefighters, there's a reason they were taken here. This is Maricopa Medical Center. This is where they have the largest and most burn unit in the city. They also have a trauma center there, so they're equipped to handle a lot of these different cases. But if the injuries in particular were burns, this is very likely where they would go.
Yeah, and you see the rush of family and friends showing up out there as they get word in a moment's notice to run out there and check on these 8 guys. 3 or 4 were sent over there. Now you're looking at some of these pictures from APS from the story that we did. Keep in mind, these are like the size of a shipping container. These are not small units. These are something that will help sort of bridge the gap when we don't have solar power within the day because the sun is set. It's a method of storage to sort of help us during the peak time of year. So this is kind of like the new generation, if you will.
Yeah, and if lithium batteries and fires sound familiar to you, it's because we've done a number of stories on lithium fires. Each one of these batteries contains what's called a flammable electrolyte, and if the battery is damaged or is charged too quickly, that chemical can actually pressurize, and then that can cause an explosion. Now, the PIO for Peoria Fire mentioned that they were actually monitoring levels there, hazmat levels inside there, and felt that it was safe to go in. Obviously, the worry about an explosion of this type, but lithium fires are nothing new. If you've boarded a plane, you know they ask you about whether you've got lithium batteries in any of your electronics, and there have been a number of recalls. The Samsung Galaxy Note 7 was recalled several years ago.
And I want to interrupt you, Steve, so we can get back out to the scene quickly for this latest update.
Fire hazmat unit responded. Upon their arrival, there was an explosion. It sent all 4 firefighters to the hospital. What we're being told right now is that it's non-life-threatening injuries, but they are still at the hospital. Additionally, we had a surprise fire medical crew also sent to the hospital for evaluation purposes only. What we are being told right now is that there is no public health safety or public or any environmental safety hazards at the time.
How many total firefighters were injured in this between all the agencies?
So between Peoria sent 4 and Surprise sent 4, so a total of 8 firefighters went to the hospital this evening.
Any word on what caused the explosion?
No, we don't have that information right now.
Was it transported?
It's under investigation right now with APS.
Have you ever had any kind of issues like this at this facility before?
No, not in the past 18 years that I've been here.
What's the next steps for you guys?
So our hearts are with the firefighters. That's our main concern right now is their health, safety, get them back on the job, get them back with their families.
Yeah, what is that like for you when you get that call that some of your firefighters have been injured?
Well, you know, we're family, so it's our brothers and sisters out there, so we're very concerned.
So the 4 surprise crew members, are they out of the hospital now?
I don't have that information yet. Last I heard they were still there being evaluated.
So basically it's just exposure to whatever was out there. They were in there for evaluation, and the 4 Peoria firefighters were suffering from blast injuries.
Right, exactly.
And we heard that some of the firefighters had suffered chemical burns. Is that the case?
I don't have that information right now, the details to it.
Can you elaborate on the hazardous materials that were discovered here at this facility?
That's under investigation right now. Sorry.
What is the procedure when they come up on a facility like this? Like, what is it exactly that they're looking to do, and how is it that they are trained to make entry into something like this?
So our hazmat units, they're specially trained. They go through a lot of training. They go through school to become hazmat techs. They come in with their meters and they meter the air. They monitor the air and readings and take note.
Surprise Fire and Medical once again giving us an update from the scene of this fire and explosion that's left at least 8 firefighters from Surprise and Peoria Fire Departments hurt. At least one of them in critical condition right now in the burn unit at Maricopa Medical Center.
And we'll keep you updated much more right after this break on this developing story.